not surprised when I get on social media sometimes and people disagree with my opinion. I actually sometimes welcome it. I actually always welcome it. If you're going to disagree with what I say, that's why we have a live part of our show where you, the fan, could come in, leave thoughts, questions, concerns. We'll talk about it. I may disagree with you. I may agree with you. Who knows? But I love sports opinions. I love having you in here. But Notre Dame fans get really mad, man. They're really mad at your boy. This guy Farmer on Twitter says, at AYS Sports, you're a fat little LSU blank, blankety blank blank. No, I'm not going to repeat it. I hope your fat ass doesn't have a heart attack before Notre Dame makes the playoffs. Oh, yeah, by the way, you are a blankety blank blank blank. Well, Mr. Farmer, I would just say I'm pretty sure you wouldn't say that in person. And if you did, you know probably the ramifications that would come of it. But nevertheless, I had Notre Dame in the playoffs. Yeah, to this guy, Farmer. I had Notre Dame in the playoffs. I argued with my co-host Joe on Ruffino and Joe show that they would not be a 5 overall seed. And you would have thought that I just said that they lost to Marshall or something. Oh, my bad. They actually did 2 years ago. You would have thought that I said that they got absolutely out-physicaled and abused and out-coached by Louisville a year ago. Oh, wait. They did. Or maybe they don't have enough players on the field to stop Ohio State and Kyle McCord going into the end zone to win it in South Bend. Oh, wait. They did that too. Didn't they have a timeout that they called too? When the game was on the line? Nevertheless, they're mad that I put them as a, I think, 6 seed instead of a 5 seed. Who would have ever known that Notre Dame fans and LSU fans would be the ones bantering with one another? But I guess it's Brian Kelly's fault for this guy Farmer calling me out on Twitter. Nevertheless, we did talk about or make our college football playoff picks. I did have LSU in mind. Blake, you're a homer. Okay. Well, you can go over to Ruffino and Joe show and talk about it. The reason I put them in there is some of the things that we saw even yet today and what we're going to talk about in LSU's practice report. We're back out there again today. We'll break it all down. I highly suggest if you want all of my notes, all the things that I'm writing down from practice, go over to the forum, ayssnetwork.com/forum. You can catch all the notes as soon as we leave practice and maybe a special video or two that's on the internet, that's on our forum. So you can go over there and check it out. I highly suggest you subscribe. So we're going to talk about practice, the things that we saw. I'm going to start giving a little bit deeper cut observations. What do I mean by that? What do I think is going on? Right? Like, what do I really, really think is going on? Can you start formulating an opinion of your team when you're out there every day for 2 straight weeks? I don't know. But we're going to break down both sides of that, saying yes, you can, no, you can't. I mean, Blake, you're only 2 weeks in. Yeah, 2 weeks in. But is that the team that USC is going to see in 2 weeks from now? Probably not, but we will see. Everybody do us a favor while we hit the like and share. In the meantime, we're going to get to some of these comments. Does LSU, by the way, before a couple more things that we're going to discuss here tonight, is LSU deeper now than they were, or are they deeper? Is this team deeper, meaning by depth, pause, does this team have more depth than they've had since Joe Burrow and company? We'll talk about that tonight too. We'll go around your SEC. Texas is continuously getting popped by the injury bug. Does that affect it? I mean, look, man, not getting injuries in camp is probably the number one goal of any coach. Probably. Get in good work. Please, God, don't let key players get injured. At Texas, one running back tore their ACL, the other on Monday tore his Achilles. So we'll see about the University of Texas. Does that make it easier for a team like Georgia if you don't have any running game? How much tougher does that make it for a guy like Quinn Ewers? So we'll talk about that as well. And then at the end, you know what it is. We will get you all your thoughts, questions, concerns. So thoughts, questions, concerns, you can put them inside of the Rudy Crew chat. At the end of the show, we'll get to as many of them as we can. Mudbug Delahousse on YouTube says, Blake, you can post your notes on Tigers droppings or on 3 too. I'm poor. On 3 costs the same amount of money as we do. You can just go over there and do it. Andrew Paulsa Martin says Farmer is probably banned from the South Bend Chili's. Probably is. Farmer, you're probably banned from South Bend Chili's. Guys, I'm just going to tell you, this shit used to affect me. Like today, this would have, if what this guy Farmer said 7 years ago, I would have gone stupid. It doesn't matter, man. It literally doesn't matter. So, yeah. Harry Wilson, home of Big Ben Wilkerson, arguably the best center in LSU history before the other Big Ben gets there, that being Ben Ruffino. He says the 409 Hempfield, Texas in the building, our good buddy Harry Wilson. Good to have you in here, bud. Good to have you in here. Chris Kimball says 662 Tupelo, Mississippi in the house. DS 70702. I'm assuming Perry Delahousse is in Denham Springs because I'm in not too far from him then. Yeah, where are you watching from tonight? Where are you watching from tonight? I gotta say this too before we get rolling. I keep seeing all your comments about some of you saying that the 985 ain't got good food spots. And I'm just going to tell you, you better watch your godforsaken mouth. I can take you to the place right now in the 985 that will make you drive home to your mama and slap her for not bringing you to this place. I'm telling you, man, Ronnie's Boudin. Y'all think I'm crazy. All right. Ooh-wee. Go on there on a Monday. Epic Showed at 21 looks like he's at Market Max. The gas station Market Max. And his profile pic here, I like the Dodge truck in the background, though. He says the 985 currently in the building, Ryan J. Williams. Good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm says, currently I'm mowing my grass in the 985 listening to the show. Yeah. Jay says Ronnie's is the man. Ronnie's is the bomb. Listen, man. Y'all stay with me for a week. I'll get you fatter than a tick that's been on a hound dog for 48 straight hours. Okay? If you don't know what that means, you're not country enough. Just look it up. Lauren says she's in the 512. Austin, Texas is in the building. Lauren, I would love to know how the Texas faithful are taking that they have 2 really good running backs that will be out for the season. Chris Lomax in the 901 in the building as well. Connor says that Ronnie's smoked boudin is fire. Man, listen to me. Listen to your boy. I'm telling you, I am not paid by them to give them a plug. Now, I know their owner grew up with their owner, or my brother grew up with their owner. Great family. I'm not trying to plug Ronnie's boudin, but listen to me. If you are in Baton Rouge, if you are in Hammond, Louisiana at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, you need to be at Ronnie's Boudin on Mondays and Thursdays, because let me tell you what happens. They're going to slap your mama with them red beans and pork chop and I think some collard greens on Mondays. And then on Thursdays, the pork steak, the Cajun rice, the mac and cheese, the sweet potatoes. Oh, sweet potatoes might be on Monday. I forget. It doesn't matter. The baked beans, with some bacon crumbles in them things. I am telling you, I have been on carnivore way too long because now all I am thinking about is getting some red beans and rice on Mondays or a pork steak on Thursday. Telling you, man. I'm not saying that the 985 is the best food place in, let's say, Louisiana. Don't mistake me here, Trey. He said, stop 337 Boudin, capital of the world. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is, you drive to Ronnie's Boudin, it gonna make you slap your mama square in the face. Y'all think I'm crazy. I am not. So, yeah. A couple more, then we'll get rolling. He says, my profile picture is in my driveway. That's a badass driveway. The man that looks like he's at a gas station in Market Max, I'm telling you, man, if that's his driveway, then you got money, big dog. You got that long, white-haired Lil Wayne country money. Long hair, don't care. We call it George Washington. Money so old, it's growing white hairs. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Ray Watt says he's in the top 251 Mobile, Alabama stand-up. Mobile's got some food over there, too, now. They got some food over there, too. A. McNabb, 23, says, Blake, I want to know how Nuss is looking. We'll talk about that tonight. Glad that you asked. And that's a big thing we'll talk about tonight. AMCAT, Hancock, asked about the pause, massive pause, 100%, 1,000%, massive pause. But they asked, guys, can y'all find that comment? I clicked off of it. Yeah, find the comment. All right, thanks. Says my biggest concern is the starting four corners going against the 4-5 wide receiver sets will get burnt coming out in a 4-3 or a nickel. Here's the thing, man. They have not run a 4-3 all camp. They have not run a 4-3 all camp. They have been more dynamic in what they've done than you've seen since 2019, since Dave Aranda left. You're not ready for what you're about to see. I really don't. I really think, in my humble opinion, you're not ready. You're not ready. If what they're running at practice is an indication of how innovative Blake Baker is going to be, sign me up for it, man. And here's another thing. Yeah, you're probably going to get burned on some of this. When you send pressure, you will get burned. It's the nature of the business. The risk versus the reward is more sacks, more tackle for loss. Guys, they're getting after Garrett Nussmeier again today. Another sack on the day in 11-on-11 period. They wind up taking the holding call, but it's going to wind up being a sack in 11-on-11 period. Listen, against arguably what you and I have said has been the best offensive line in the country, not the conference, not in the old SEC West teams that you would pick from. No. We've talked about them being top 5, top 3, I think top in the nation. Good. They have gotten after their ass. And I will be real with you, too. If you're keeping up with these practice reports, if you're on the forum, ayssnetwork.com/forum, I don't know. Here's my thing. We're about to get into it here, but I will lead the show into this. I am unsure how you are grading, because I feel like I'm coming out here defending the defense. And I'm trying to scale that back, because everybody's like, oh, Blake thinks Nuss sucks. I've never remotely in the same stratosphere come close to saying that. But how do you – I see everybody saying, oh, well, in individual periods, the DBs are getting cooked. Well, they didn't get cooked today in individual period. I'm just going to throw that out there. Y'all didn't talk about that shit today. But nevertheless, they get an 11-on-11 the last 3 times that we've seen them, 1 versus 1s. Guys, your starting offense versus your starting defense, and you're struggling to get first downs. You are fighting for your godforsaken life to get first downs. Major Burns, on a very bad decision by Garrett Nussmeier, picks it off. So they kick a field goal yesterday. Okay, just to paint this picture before we get rolling, the end of team period yesterday is LSU's defense coming up with an interception by Paris Shand the first go around, leading them to a field goal the second time around did Nuss. The third time around, Major Burns is picking off a Garrett Nussmeier pass. And y'all are asking me, guys, that's out there. They're publishing what we're telling you is happening. You can believe, not believe. I believe, or some of, there are a lot of people that are out there at practice. A lot of people have different opinions. I'm going to give you mine. I don't care about theirs. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I live with that. I know I'm not wrong. So I don't have to worry about it. I don't know how we're walking. I legitimately don't know how people are walking away from what they've not seen in the last 3 days and defense not stand up. That means you don't know what you're looking at. Zach Rome with a $9.99 super chat sends, good evening, Blake. Is Sherman Wilson still on the staff and doing well? Number 2, Tank, DT, and Paez and Savion up front on the 3-4 set. Sherman is doing good. He's still on staff. He's moved to a different role, if I'm not mistaken, to some kind of like player retention coach. So you haven't seen him on social media, not really doing that anymore. Looks like he's off of social media. So yeah. Number 2, Tank, DT. Tank did get hurt today. It was Paez and Jalen Lee. But Tank and Paez and Savion in a 3-man set. I have not seen that so far this camp. They have taken big guys off and put more athleticism on. Like, they're being very innovative, dude. Yesterday, their set was a 5-1. Like, they had a 5-1 set, meaning what you would count five, and they did it again today. I'll preface this, too. They did this today. They literally had 5 what you would count if you're an offensive lineman, D lineman, or numbers. 5 guys are at the line of scrimmage. You have Braden Swinson, Harold Perkins. At the nose, you have Paris Shand. Standing directly behind Paris Shand at linebacker is Whit Weeks. Then you have Savion Jones, and then you have Deshaun Womack. That's what they've run out there the last 2 days in team period. A completely different package. They would run guys on and off the field. There was a 3rd and short situation, and they did go to a big bunch package. You know who was at defensive end today? Dylan Carpenter. Dylan Carpenter in the big boy package. So they have lined up, shown, they've given Nussmeier everything he can handle. So we'll talk about that next. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. If you're on Facebook, share to all those groups, share to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever, you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let me pay some bills right quick. We're coming right back. Let's break down today's practice. What do I think about the Tigers? Is this team as deep, depth-wise, since 2019? We'll talk about that next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50 to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it here, man. Let's do it. We were out there again today for LSU football practice. Look, we've been out there Saturday, yesterday, and today, and there's going to be another recurring thing, in my humble opinion. That recurring theme is when, look, 7-on-7, receivers, 1-on-1, they got the DBs a couple of times. Yep, can't deny it. Even though Harold Perkins had two really damn good pass breakups, Jordan Allen had another one. Kind of boomer bust defensively. Progress, though. Progress. But when you get to 11-on-11 and the defense making the plays that they did, holding LSU to a field goal today that was missed, I might add, a 50-plus yard field goal that was missed. Defense wins the period, man. This time last year, when you went through 2-minute drills, you had Jaden Daniels in 4 plays going 75 yards for a tutty. Malik Neighbors in the back of the end zone, bang. Brian Thomas in the back of the end zone, bang. And what's so crazy is, man, as a fan, you got to see last year so many other offenses besides your own personally go off on this defense a year ago. Not like that anymore in the no-fly zone at times, at least sometimes in 11-on-11. You have guys like Major Burns that are making plays. Are we going to be talking about this upcoming season? Hey, coaching really does matter. Look at what Blake Baker has done. That could be a theme that in 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even going into week 1 or after week 1, that the conversation that you and I are having on a weekly basis is what kind of absolutely innovative Minecraft, Fortnite, Dragon Ball Z type of innovation is this man going to come up with this week? I think that that's the conversation that you and I are going to have. Out at practice today, red zone was a big deal through probably 20 to 25 minutes of what the offense and defense did in one-on-ones, wide receivers versus DBs. We opened it up, and without absolutely filthy route in the slot by Kyron Lacey, we posted it on social media. You can go to Twitter, is where I say social media, but an absolutely filthy route by Kyron Lacey on a slant route into the end zone on Jordan Allen touchdown. But then you turn right around, and here comes Ashton Stamps yet again on a slant route from Xavion Thomas to break it up. to break it up. Stance would come back 2 plays later and have another one. Mason Taylor, corner route in the back of the end zone, overthrown by Garrett Nussmeier. Woodland has a PBU on Jelani Watkins. Watkins did get hurt on that play. Jelani rolled his ankle, popped up, kind of had to do some work on the side, did come back later, was jogging along the sideline, looked okay. We'll see his status, maybe a day-to-day type of thing. But Woodland with a PBU. Multiple times throughout this practice today, you had situations where this defense stood up, batted down some passes, did some really good things in one-on-ones. And there were some touchdowns like Kamarian Pimpton in the back of the end zone on Juwan Johnson. Like, yeah, that was something that happened today. That was the last thing that we saw. Hilton catches a TD that was unguarded, slant, touchdown. J.K. Johnson, PBU on C.J. Daniels in the back of the end zone, or on the front of the end zone, on an out route that was completely covered. Today, the defense looked a lot better in one-on-ones. A lot better in one-on-ones. And when I look at them, I am seeing constant progression. Constant progression. It's guys, undeniable from what you saw a year ago. Undeniable. With that being said, that is a big benefit to what you're going to need coming in week 1 against USC. So all in all, individuals, wide receivers versus DBs, a lot of things were split. Aaron Anderson called a touchdown. Chris Hilton called a touchdown. Kyron Lacey called a touchdown. And C.J. Daniels called a touchdown in the end zone. Mason Taylor called a touchdown in the end zone. But the other 7 plays, man, go to the defense. Really, really good plays. Kamarian Pimpton to touchdown. But really tick and tack. Offense wins 1, defense wins 1. Offense wins 1, defense wins 1. As much balance as you can have in an individual period. You know, it's interesting when I get in my truck and am going home after practice and I'm typing up all of my notes. I get home and reread them. And I put a little notes next to everything that we've written down. I have 7 wins for the offense, 6 wins for the defense, and individuals red zone drills. I will take that all the live long day. 7 wins for the offense, 6 for the defense. It's a good period, man. We go to run game. Here was the run game period. So just in case you haven't been here or this is the first practice report that you've caught, the run game period is O-line and O-line, quarterback, running back versus the defensive line and linebackers. Completely dominated by the offensive line today. Completely dominated ones versus ones in the run game today was the offensive line. We come up because they split it. You have a center, guard, tackle on one side. Your starting offensive line separated over here. And then on the right side, you have the center, guard, and tackle. So you have 2 different centers that are going to be in there every play. But you have your entire offensive line going in both groups. You got to bring down the ball carrier if you're the defender. Let's go run the football. Everybody knows the football's being run. Where is it going? Today, Emory Jones and Will Campbell opened up the practice, making themselves known. Like it's as if they heard that the O-line kind of was bad yesterday to some extent to their standard. They weren't bad at all, but to their standard. And both of them were in their apartments last night saying, hey, man, listen, tomorrow we're coming out there and we're dominating these dudes. In the run game, Will Campbell and Emory Jones were on fire today. They were on fire. So your tackles came out and performed. Jacoby and Guillory did get hurt in that run game period on the very first play. gets rolled up on, looks like it was maybe a left knee issue. He was pointing to the outside of his knee, which is good. If the worst case scenario, which would be okay, it wouldn't be detrimental. He might be back for USC, might not. But that being maybe potentially worst case scenario, let's see what goes on with Jacoby and Guillory. I think that you're really going to need him this year in a very thin defensive line. And when he went out, shit did not get good, was not good. Shit got very real very quickly. So today, and what has continued to be a thing, is that I don't feel good about the interior of that defensive line in the running game. I don't. It's all we're seeing. And when it's all you're seeing, when the running game is going, that's where I start having issues. Where I start having issues is I'm like, man, listen, I know that you're doing some really good things in the passing game by getting the pass rush and disrupting stuff in the backfield. In the running game right now, it would appear you're not doing shit. And I hate to say it like that, but guys, we've been out there. This is day 10. Okay? Day 10, and it's the biggest question mark that I have. I feel pretty good at the current moment. I'm like, man, if you're going to get that play at DB, I'm going to take it. If I'm going to get that play at safety, I will take it. From progression of what you had a year ago. If your edge rushers do what they've been doing, I'll take that from a year ago. Because if this offense is what we think that they can be, those units have been fine. It's been that interior of that defensive line that has had issues. Seems like a lot of things elsewhere are very balanced, very 50-50 at the current moment. How are things going to go? Is one side going to pick it up versus the other? I don't know. Like it's as 50-50 as I could call it right now in a long time. I don't know what to make of it. But if there is one area that I'm like, that could lose you a game to a team that you're not preparing for. Like, God forbid, Arkansas. You can't stop Arkansas from running the football right at you. It's a very plausible thing. And you're in a dogfight with Arkansas. You're in a dogfight with Arkansas because you can't stop them from running the football with Bobby Petrino. Could I see that being... And that's just a scenario. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I actually think you're going to house Arkansas. That is something that I very much am concerned about. But we move on. We move on. It's a problem that needs to start getting corrected. You might have to run a crazy-ass personnel out there. There does come a point that you just got to find a way to get your best players on the field and play. Because if that unit's not going to give you if it's not going to give you stuff, like I have not seen Gio Paez really. I really have not. I'm waiting for Gio Paez to have an impact. I'm waiting for JVR Suggs, who at times, man, I will admit, has done some decent stuff in the running game, even in the passing game. But I don't feel good about it. I started feeling good about what Tank Guillory can give you. I thought Tank was doing some really good stuff. It's just who's going to step up next. Sean Washington will make a play here and there for you, getting off a ball carry and tackling somebody at the line of scrimmage. Very rarely do those things happen in the run game. And all the videos you see of Caleb Jackson going off, guys, you're seeing it for yourself. Literally, Caleb Jackson's got a wide open hole to run through. Do you know what that means? That your interior of your defensive line is getting beat up. That's what that means. When you're running right off the center's ass and Caleb Jackson's running right through it, and there's a gaping hole, but there's a gaping hole that he's running through, that means that your interior of your defensive line is getting pushed around. Good part is you knew what you had to tackle. What does that mean for DJ Chester, who is back at center today? Gary Dellinger at guard, Miles Frazier at right guard. What does that tell you about them? Because you can't get more A-gap run right at you type of runs than what the video that Caleb Jackson was posted by LSU football on and that we talked about a couple of days ago. That you can't make that up. It's reality that things are happening there. So we talked about a really good secondary piece in the sense of, hey, man, 7 wins for the offense, 6 wins for the defense. You go to run game period and night, sweetheart, because in round 1, Mike Tyson just uppercutted you and you're down for the you're down for the count. You're down for the count. And that is where I have focused in on at the current moment. I see what you're doing in 11 on 11. I see it. I see what the production you've had. It's been those couple of plays here and there that when shit does hit the fan, shit hits the fan. And somebody's going for 7. Boom or bust. You got to clean up. You got to clean that up, and you got to clean that up now. I will say this. Listen, you can think about USC, whatever you want to think about USC. Their interior of their offensive line isn't bad. Not great, not bad. It's not. Neither is Ole Miss's. Remember that unit last year that pushed you around, that ran for 300 plus? Yes, I do. Do you? Scarred in my mind for a generation would be that game from last year against Ole Miss. You lose as much as this league at the current moment and the SEC, as much as football in general is a pass-happy league. In college football, God dog it, wherever level of football that you want to talk about, if you can run the football at will on teams, you're going to win football games. You're going to dominate some teams. It's what you did offensively. Doesn't matter that it looked a certain way with Jaden Daniels. It happened. So run game period goes to the offense in a dominating fashion. So team period. I'll get to 7 on. Let's go through 7 on 7 very quickly. So after the individual drills, O-line, D-line, wide receiver, DBs that you had, you go to 7 on 7, and I was unable to get to the offense versus D-line portion of the practice because I spent so much time in the running game. I wanted to go focus in on 7 on 7. Started out Mason Taylor, corner route, touchdown on what appeared to be either Jordan Gilbert or Jordan Allen. But it was the clip, if I'm not mistaken, the clip that LSU posted of Mason Taylor going deep. That was the one for the touchdown to start off 7 on 7. Drag route by C.J. Daniels for 3 yards, tackled by Greg Penn Jr. Jordan Gilbert, PBU on Shelton Sampson on an out route. Harold Perkins on Kamarian Pimpton in the back of the end zone, deflated away. Whit Weeks on Kamarian Pimpton, PBU as well. They would run in a couple of units. Garrett had a couple of more passes. There was one to Chris Hilton that he completed that I was unable to write down because our vision got impaired. It's what I saw, Nuss throwing a fade to Chris Hilton in the back of the end zone, bang, tutty. I couldn't confirm any of it, so I didn't write it down. That did happen. There were some other plays in there that happened too. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Major Burns had a PBU on Mason Taylor on an out route. But those were probably the only 2 that I did not put in my practice report on the forum that did happen. Let's go to team period. So it's another day, another 2-minute drill. And this is something LSU has worked on the last couple of days. I want to go back through very quickly what has been your defensive line. Not going to completely call it your defensive line, but the package that you've run out there and this new exotic look or prowler look that Blake Baker is going to call. You have had on going from left to right. So if you're the quarterback, you're right to left. Excuse me. If you're the quarterback looking, you're right to left. It would be Braden Swinson at one end, Harold Perkins lined over a guard, Paris Shan at the nose tackle, Xavion Jones on the guard, and Deshaun Womack on the tackle. You have Swinson standing up, Perkins standing up, and then Whit Weeks is right behind Paris Shan, who's at the nose. Then you have Xavion Jones in a three-point stance, or sometimes will stand up on the guard, and then Deshaun Womack. What Orgeron used to call the cheetah package. Until you got to third and short, that is what you came out in. Major Burns out or in, considering on what Blake Baker calls. If Major Burns goes out, Jair Brown goes in at that slot. Goes in at the slot. So there are different formation, different looks that they've been giving. They have been exotic up front, what I would consider 5 down, because you got to consider Harold Perkins a down lineman at that current moment if you're an offensive lineman. That would be how I would do it. But you come out of 2-minute drill, team period, 11 versus 11, ones versus ones. Kyron Lacey on a slant route, broken up by Jordan Gilbert, that would have been a first down. A check down so nobody's open. So 2nd and 10, Nuss takes a pass. Nobody is open. He's got to check it down to Caleb Jackson. They either called a false start on it, which then pushed him back to 2nd and 15. Then they ran a play, and it looked like they called another false start. So somehow, some way, you got into 3rd and 15 because they backed the ball up twice and blew a play dead. So with that, I'm going to just, since it's 5 yards, I'm going to call it 2 false starts. You get to 3rd and 15 here. CJ Daniels on a drag route, breaks 2 tackles, gets the first down, gets about 17 yards. So 1st and 10 you're on 30, 35-ish. After that, Nuss on 1st and 10 would have to throw it away because there's immense pressure. Xavion Jones, Harold Perkins, and Braden Swinson were coming barreling down at Garrett Nussmeier. Nussmeier scrambles for 7, another blitz. Ashton Stamps coming from the short side of the field from the outside on a blitz. It's unguarded, and Nuss has to run and scramble. He gets 7 yards. Ashton Stamps brings him down. After that, they would throw a pass away from Nuss, and then they would have to settle for a field goal. They would have to settle for a field goal in this period. We were walked out after that, but then LSU put out the second team period from today, Major Burns catching a pick. So if that's in there, either it was today or yesterday, whichever one, that's where the team period ended. Look, man, I put 11 on 11, the defense winning it again from what I saw. No idea who won the other 2 periods. Would think the other 2 team periods would think that and hope that some of them were split. But other than that, man, outside of that, defense won the team period. So about as 50-50, I guess, as you can get. I like what Blake Baker is doing. There's more energy. Far, far more energy. I think guys are playing fast. I think when you see a guy like Major Burns making an interception, a diving interception like what they posted today, I don't know how you're not walking out right now saying, all right, man, listen, if we think this offense is going to be what they're going to be, like if that offense is going to put up the numbers we think that they can put up, what do you make of them getting into team periods and the defense getting stops? I mean, what do you make of it? Because I'll be real with you. If you're going to get stops like that, even if they get yards on you and you have to settle or they have to settle the field goals, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So, yeah. All right. Boy, you gotta be careful out here, man. You gotta be careful out here. You got a lot of bots in the chat tonight, I see. A lot of bots in the chat tonight. So that's where I'm at. Boy, y'all in the chat wilding right now, man. I was gonna read some of y'all's comments. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. Chris Sanders says we LSU D will never be bad in back-to-back seasons. Might not be. Might not be. Look, this is how I feel. I feel as if that you have gone to a place defensively where you're just making stops. Is it going to translate to on the field when it's a game time type of situation? When the actual bullets are flying, not these simulated situations. How are you going to react? How are you going to react? Are you going to play like you've been showing? And that's something that I don't know. Like, I don't know if this team can be I don't know. I feel as if that you can be a top 50, 60 defense. Like, I think you can be there. That's just how I feel. I don't think that that's a bold take from what I've seen. If Blake Baker and this defense can be 55, just about average, I'm going to take it. I'm going to more than take it because that means you're going to win a lot of football games. Because I do think this offense is going to put up some numbers and they're going to make some explosive plays and they're going to run the football really well. I think that. I think I'm looking at an offense at the current moment that's been shell-shocked. Like, Nuss hasn't seen what Blake and them are bringing. They're bringing it from exotic looks so that the offensive line can't pick things up. Right? Like, I mean, at the current moment, Blake Baker's sending the house on their ass. He's winning. Now, I will remind you of something. The running game was not involved in this, and I think that that's you've made the point. I've made the point in the last 2 days. You didn't see Caleb Jackson running the football. That is fair. Very fair. But I can only go based off of what I saw. Did see it on Saturday, though, when Harold Perkins on a 3rd and 5 got a critical 3rd down stop. Shot through the A-gap, made the tackle. I don't know. Chad says, hopefully the DT position doesn't keep LSU from a chance at a playoff spot. Yeah. I hope it doesn't either. Y'all in the chat, man. I'm turning the chat off. Y'all are too crazy right now. I keep getting distracted by it. Like, God damn, man. Y'all need to stop fighting all the damn time. Gotta stop fighting. All right. Let's do this. I'm going to come back. We'll talk about the team. Is the team going to be deeper this year? Pause. Depth-wise, maybe the best since 2019. Then we'll come back and take your questions. I really hope the chat will calm down. I really do. If you have your questions, fire them in here. Let's pay some bills right quick. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirement. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Is it just me, or I feel like we have more bots in the comments lately. Like either other teams, fans coming in here and talking outright shit to us, or just fake people. Oh, God. You know, I had a thought. My thought was, and I asked myself the question today, is this 2024 team deeper, pause, depth-wise at positions than they were since 2019, 2021 season, the 22 season? Well, the nature of it is, well, Blake, yeah, 2021, you only had like 65, 70 scholarship players. You couldn't get enough players to get to 85. Orgeron's roster management was really bad when Brian Kelly got here. He only had 39 scholarship players. 2020, you had guys in and out through COVID. Jamar Chase opted out. Terrace Marshall opted out halfway through the year. Just a weird time. And I think what's interesting here, so we have been talking about defensively how they've looked and how this offensive line has looked. And going into year 3, I'm starting to ask myself, is the depth and numbers that you have gotten since replenishing your roster from a high school perspective, really, when it comes down to it, have you started to build very good quality depth? Let me explain. Like, I don't ever really remember at DB or safety, like having a guy like Juwan Johnson, Juwan Johnson might not be ready to play right now, but he's done some really good things so far through camp that you're like, hey man, if the kid had to come into play, yeah, he'll probably have some bad moments. He's probably gonna make a play or two that you're not really. I don't want to say this, that you're going to kind of look at him and be like, damn, like he's made some of those plays. When you see a guy like PJ Woodland in real action, I asked the question, hey man, if he had to come in, what's he going to do? I think because since Brian Kelly got here, when you're around the 75 mark in scholarships, the 15 other players that you add on a year in, year out basis, like you did this year, is starting to show at a pretty high rate, I think, in how competitive things are. Guys, Harold Perkins is going into year 3. Will Campbell, Emory Jones going into year 3. For crying out loud, John Emery's on year 20. You have some experience, man, and I do think that it had been lacking from an experience and leadership. You know, you had transfers coming in that were seniors. You didn't have your core guys that were juniors, seniors, like really wanting to start winning here in this true rebuild of what Brian Kelly had to do. I believe that if you needed a guy to come in for a play or two at certain positions like safety, like linebacker, like defensive end, I actually think it's okay. All right. Let's see what they can do. Deshaun Womack's at edge. I don't know if he's going to be the number one guy at edge, like play in, play out, but he's going to play a lot. It's a former 5-star. What is he going to do? Braden Swinson was a highly recruited guy going into his last year. Guys, I think Braden Swinson's had a really good couple of days here. I look at some of these young corners. Guys, these young corners have beat out the experienced ones that you've had. That's the truth. That's what's been happening. And then you move Sage Ryan, who's got more experience at corner than anybody. Guys, Sage Ryan's your most experienced corner. There is gonna have to come a point for Sage that there's not a lot that he hasn't seen. Can he make those plays? Can he finally step up? He's also a former 5-star. Does Don McKinley come in for a couple of plays and do something? I don't know. But I do think that you could have a situation where you're just playing a lot of really quality depth. I think I'm pretty sure I know who this is. Mega would be my good friend Adam, if that really is him. All right, so let's do this to wrap all this up. Thoughts, questions, concerns, put them inside the chat very quickly. We'll get to a couple of comments. Here. Stephen Pearlou says, "Add Blake. Ain't no question about it. Dropping $100 on Nuss to win the Heisman. I wouldn't do that. I want you to bet. I want you to gamble in a very smart way. You're throwing $100. Take that $100 and throw it in the trash can. I say that. Do I think that he has the ability to do it and me look like an idiot? Yes, I do. I would not do that, man. I would not do that. Here's what I would say about Nuss, because this question is really going to be about Nussmeier. What have I thought about him so far? I think he's made some really freaking good throws. There have been some throws that he's made that is NFL level, high NFL level throws that you can't take away from him. He is going to make some ridiculous throws in tight windows that you're just not ready for, that you can't really guard. And that's Nuss, right? However, He's going to make some silly decisions. And you're going to have to live with it. You're going to have to live with it. He's going to make some very silly decisions. I could see him having 8 picks on the year, and some of them are going to be critical for you. Some of them could be backbreaking. But I see him around a 23 I'd say 29, maybe 30, because he's going to throw so much. I could see him be at 25 to 30, maybe in that range, and 8 picks. I could see that. But those critical turnovers are going to be critical. Like, what are you doing type of throws? Nuss's turnover. Here's the thing. The turnovers that Nuss has had this camp have only been like, why are you throwing that? Right? Like, it's not like he's making a bad throw, like he's got a right read and the throw's bad. You know what I mean? Like, if Kyron Lacy's coming in on an in route, he's not throwing it behind Kyron Lacy and it getting picked. Like, that's not happening. What's happening here is he gets a little pressure or has got to move a little bit, and he wants to make a swag play, and it fails on him. That's what's been happening with his picks. I think that's the best way that I can put it. Like, you know, he's getting pressure from the outside. He steps up and makes like he makes a sidearm type of throw. Like, hey, I'm going to shortstop this in here to Mason Taylor, get a first down. And you know what? Major Burns is reading exactly what Garrett Nussmeier is doing, because he's already moving himself into position if Garrett Nussmeier runs. And he makes a throw like that, and Major Burns comes out of nowhere and picks it off. That's the stuff that's been happening. You guys, if you have 8 to 10 interceptions this year, it's going to be in boneheaded decisions. I think that he's good for 8. Jordan says the last drive against Wisconsin showed he's going to be great. Let me ask you this question. Hypothetically, let me ask all of you guys this. Does that same logic apply to Miller Moss at USC? Because if that Miller Moss shows up from USC, you could be in trouble. You can be in serious trouble. All right. Y'all keep playing with that kid. He's going to put up 330 and 3 touchdowns and a pick on you. Y'all play around with that kid. Here's another thing from Strahan's comment here. Y'all are making – see, this is why I don't come out here and talk Nuss. It's why I don't do it. I remember the days that you and I argued about Miles Brennan. I'm very old enough to remember the conversations that you and I had literally last offseason when I said Jayden Daniels is fucking shit up. A lot of you did not believe me. That's fine. It is what it is. And now I'm getting wiser with this gray hair. I'm not going to debate with y'all with quarterback. I'm done with the quarterbacks debate. Over it. If you think Wisconsin's better than teams that you're going to see from last year, you're an idiot. And I don't mean that to Jordan. I'm just meaning it in general. Grinch ain't the DC at USC anymore, Jordan. He is not. He is not. See, got to know who the DC is before you say that. Anthony B. Saint says, ask Blake, with either injuries sustained today appear to be major. They did not. Now, I can't speak on Guillory's yet. Jelani looks to be all right. Brandon Reese says, ask Blake, besides the USC game, which SEC games are you looking forward to seeing LSU play in? Very easy. Ole Miss at Kyle Field. I think at South Carolina is interesting. I mean, basically, I'm reading off the whole list here. I can make an argument for all of them. Clearly, Alabama, Oklahoma comes into town. That's going to be a big one. But really, I mean, guys, October 12th in college football is going to be insane. It's going to be the biggest day of the year. The most highly anticipated week at the current moment will be on October the 12th. Shit's going to go crazy. I think Oregon and Ohio State play at 11. You probably got LSU, Ole Miss at night. I forget all the other ones. There's a shitload of really good games that could start defining their conferences. Mega says, Blake, was you really impressed with Moss in the bowl game? Was I really impressed? I mean, I don't know if that's completely what I would call it. What I would say is, from Miller Moss, is you can't ignore what he did. You can't ignore 400 plus 4 touchdowns in the pick. Not with Lincoln Riley at coordinator, head coach, combo, whatever he wants to call himself these days. I mean, you can't. Was I surprised by him? You shit right I was. I mean, if that's the level of play you get when a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback leaves, now what? Guys, they got better offensively when Caleb Williams left. Better. Guys, they were better on offense when Caleb Williams was not there anymore. Here's another thing that USC did last year that scares the shit out of me. Last 4 games, they blocked 4 punts. I think it was the Cal game that Utah played. That USC played. I forget. A starting wide receiver blocked a punt, and then the very next play from Caleb Williams, he catches an RPO slant route and goes for 6. So yeah, boy, these comments wild tonight. I think that's my cue to leave. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.